The history of Ukraine and Russia is complex and multifaceted, spanning centuries of political, cultural, and economic interaction. In this brief overview, we will attempt to summarize some of the key events and themes that have shaped the relationship between these two neighboring countries. Early history. The region that is now Ukraine has been inhabited by various tribes and peoples since prehistoric times, including the Scythians, Sarmatians, and Goths. In the 9th century, the Varangians, Vikings, established a state centered around the city of Kiev, which became known as Kievan Rus. Kievan Rus was a loose federation of principalities that enjoyed a high degree of autonomy and cultural exchange. It played a significant role in the spread of Christianity in Eastern Europe, with the adoption of Orthodox Christianity in the 10th century. Kievan Rus was eventually overrun by Mongol invaders in the 13th century, leading to a period of fragmentation and decline. 16th–17th centuries. In the late 15th century, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, which included modern-day Ukraine and Belarus, united with the Kingdom of Poland to form a powerful commonwealth. This alliance lasted until the late 18th century, with Ukraine serving as a key agricultural and cultural center within the Commonwealth. During the reign of Ivan the Terrible, Muscovy, later known as Russia, began to expand its influence eastward. In the late 16th century, it annexed the Khanate of Kazan and Astrakhan, gaining control of vast territories in Siberia and Central Asia. 18th–19th centuries. In the late 18th century, the partitions of Poland resulted in the incorporation of most of modern-day Ukraine into the Russian Empire. The Russian authorities sought to Russify the region, suppressing the Ukrainian language and culture and promoting Russian Orthodox Christianity. In the 19th century, Ukrainian intellectuals and nationalists began to push for greater autonomy and recognition of their distinct cultural identity. This led to a cultural and literary revival known as the Ukrainian National Awakening, which helped to lay the groundwork for future political movements. 20th century. The 20th century saw significant political upheaval and violence in Ukraine and Russia. The Russian Revolution of 1917 led to the establishment of the Soviet Union, which included Ukraine as a republic. The early years of Soviet rule were marked by famine, political purges, and the suppression of Ukrainian culture and language. During World War II, Ukraine was occupied by Nazi Germany, resulting in widespread destruction and loss of life. After the war, the Soviet Union regained control of Ukraine and initiated a program of forced collectivization and industrialization. In 1991, following the collapse of the Soviet Union, Ukraine declared independence. This was followed by a period of political and economic turmoil, with the country struggling to transition to a market economy and establish a democratic government. 21st century. In 2014, the relationship between Ukraine and Russia took a dramatic turn with the annexation of Crimea by Russia and the outbreak of war in eastern Ukraine. The conflict has been fueled by a range of factors, including historical grievances, political and economic interests, and competing visions of Ukraine's future. The annexation of Crimea was widely condemned by the international community, with Western countries imposing economic sanctions on Russia in response. The conflict in eastern Ukraine has resulted in thousands of deaths and displacement, and continues to be a major source of tension between Ukraine and Russia. Conclusion. The history of Ukraine and Russia is complex and often contentious, shaped by centuries of political, cultural, and economic interaction. While there have been periods of cooperation and shared identity, there have also been periods of conflict and repression. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine underscores the challenges of resolving